Welcome to Let's Do 2020. We've got less than 100 days now until the 2020 presidential elections, which used to sound like a short amount of time, back when the concept of time meant anything. This week, it seems that the president realized he couldn't just pay the coronavirus $130,000 for it to just go away. Trump's complete reversal on taking the coronavirus seriously is what you might call a Donny-come-lately. He tweeted a picture of himself wearing a mask, the one and only time he's actually worn one, and has decided to resume his daily coronavirus briefings, but this time without the experts. The president says he's bringing coronavirus briefings back because they got such great ratings, but we all know that's just because of their time slot right after Jeopardy! Trump's biggest reversal, though, was to cancel the GOP convention in Florida after he's been pushing for this mass gathering for weeks. I mean, first off, it's never the right time to visit Florida, especially now. But as Trump is now polling behind Biden in the Sunshine State, it's obvious that he's been forced to think his strategy of just let the sunshine kill the virus. At least now he's trying to win back voters by making sure they stay alive till November. To console our Republican viewers who are planning on attending the events in Jacksonville, Let's Do 2020 has put together a list of 5 things you can do to recreate the GOP convention at home. Number 1, nominate a candidate to be in charge of the remote. Number 2, prank call Ted Cruz and tell him his wife is ugly, for old time's sake. 3, you should definitely check your temperature before tuning into Hannity. 4, pick a running mate to power walk around the neighborhood with you at 6 a.m. And finally, tell all your neighbors that they shouldn't feel safe in their home, even though you've been the HOA president for the last 3.5 years. Despite his team's best efforts, the president still had better things to do this week than formulate an actual plan to combat the virus. He bragged repeatedly about passing a test meant to detect dementia and wished Ghislaine Maxwell, who's an accused sex trafficker, well. In normal times, either of these things would have been devastating for a presidential candidate, but in 2020, we just assume that it means he won't forget to give her the Trump card. And we haven't even gone to his campaign ads yet, which feature a burglar breaking into an old lady's house while a scary voiceover explains that if Biden's elected, 911 will be no more and everyone in the suburbs is going to die. For more on Trump's tactics, please welcome our Senior Fear Mongering Correspondent, the Bogeyman.
Thank you, Becca. It's an honor to be out of the shadows and into the spotlight.
Speaking of spotlights, what's your take on Trump's new campaign ad?
Quite frankly, they couldn't come at a better time. I thought 5G conspiracy theories were going to be my biggest win of 2020, but Trump's taken my craft to a whole new level. Mwah! Business hasn't been this good since the Salem witch trials.
Yikes. So, why do ads like his work?
Well, for one, they're very motivational. If Trump says, vote for me or burglars will come into your house and kill Granny, you'd be a real dick to not vote for him. Plus, it distracts from the real scary things that will actually kill Granny, like the coronavirus.
Speaking of COVID, I'm guessing you're a fan?
Fear-mongering is an essential business, Becca, especially if you know who wants to win the 2020 election. The new Trump ads are just one more way I can scare people from at least 6 feet away. Plus, masks just add to my whole vibe.
Haven't you learned that instilling fear in people does more harm than good?
Grow up, Becca! Fear means order. It gets children to brush their teeth at night and keeps homegrown Americans from using their passports and clogging up the customs line. Besides, Americans love living in fear. How many people do you know that don't have health insurance?
Fair point. Well, is there any truth to the claim that a Biden presidency will change life in the suburbs?
Absolutely. You thought the suburbs were boring before? If Biden gets elected, I'll be relegated to a life of rustling window panes, breeding black cats, and putting salmonella in cookie dough.
Well, thank you for reminding me of what I used to be afraid of. The Boogeyman, everyone. Scary stuff. Meanwhile, Joe Biden and Obama put out a campaign video of the former president saying that Joe has character and that he doesn't have dementia and that, hey, I had nothing else to do this week, it's quarantine. Don't worry, Barack, you've now got less than 100 days of Joe calling you for help. Maybe. Thanks for watching. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, register to vote at the link here. We'll see you next week.
In using that language in front of the press, he gave permission to use that language against his wife, his daughters, women in his community. And I am here to stand up to say that is not acceptable.